Bill Maher added a stunningly stupid new argument to the McLiberal arsenal this week. So let's see what he and his panel had to say about Trump's bombing of Syria.
Russia, or what I think this guy might be doing, I don't put it past him to start a war and mix it up with Russia just to make people think, oh, I guess there is no collusion. You know, I don't put anything past this guy.
Right. There's no bottom.
There's no bottom.
There's no bottom.
And I would say that the rationale he gave for this action is completely at odds with everything he's ever said about foreign policy. He gave a humanitarian rationale. There's no national interest that he articulated, and that could be good. I mean, I can support humanitarian action if it can help people. But his whole position is we don't care about the rest of the world. We're only doing stuff if it helps us and makes us rich. So now he's saying we're doing this to help other people. It's very weird to hear him.
He's never done it. Yes.
And in 2013, he had tweeted that actually Barack Obama, who tried to seek authorization from Congress to actually have airstrikes in Syria, and he actually tweeted #bad idea.
Yeah.
And he also said must seek congressional authorization, and he's done none of those. And the timing is very helpful.
So not like him.
Well, so I think the thing about
So there are a few things to note there. You have John Chait, however the fuck you say his name, who's supposed to be leftish, you know. He's a very establishment Democrat kind of character. And he has to let everybody know, like, no, so Trump, this is against what Trump used to say with the non-intervention stuff, but, you know, he's saying he's bombing for humanitarian reasons. I can support that. So a panel full of people who are supposed to be on the left, one of them's like, it's good, bombing for humanitarian is great. Imagine being so naive. I mean, you have to be a child. You have to be a kid to really think like, that's what we're doing. We're bombing for humanitarian reasons. We care about other human beings. We care about human rights, which is why we always arm and prop up Israel as they continue illegal occupation, permanent apartheid, and they massacre Palestinian journalists, and which is why we prop up Saudi Arabia as they do a genocide in Yemen, and we help them with that genocide in Yemen because we care about human rights. That's why we do it. Imagine being like over the age of 16 and still thinking like, human rights. That's why we do what we do. It's got nothing to do with power and money and natural resources and geopolitical dominance and control. We care about human rights. That's why we invaded a country offensively and killed minimum 200,000 civilians, and why we torture, and the president brags about torture, because we care about human rights. We care about them by violating them all the time. That's what these fucking people are so stupid! By the way, why do you think they get positions of power, these people? It's because they're willing to do the bullshit rationalizations and be pseudo-intellectuals to back establishment ends and goals. That's what it is. That's what they do. That's why you saw, again, Adam Johnson, Fairness and Accuracy in Reporting. What was it? Like something like 16 or 19 or something like that articles were in favor of the Syria bombing in major newspapers in the U.S., and only 4 were against. Those people are all in those positions because they're willing to prop up American power. Always side with the establishment. Okay. And then, but the most important point, forget John Chait, or however the fuck you say it, Bill Maher. He said, I don't put it past Trump to start a war to say no collusion. So this is literally the hallmark of conspiracy theory thinking, which is actions that objectively disprove your theory are spun as evidence, further evidence to back your theory. That's what that is right there. So Donald Trump has now repeatedly bombed Vladimir Putin's top ally in the region. Okay, there was even one bombing a while ago that ended up killing Russian troops. Idiots like Bill Maher with their partisan hackery uses that as, well, maybe he's just killing Russians and bombing Russia's top ally to try to show that he's not loyal to Russia. So stop and reflect on this. They've now made it something that's called a non-falsifiable claim. If Trump doesn't bomb Syria, which by the way would be the right thing, don't bomb Syria. If Trump doesn't kill Russians in a fucking airstrike like he did not that long ago. If Trump doesn't do it, what do they say? Russian puppet. You see, it proves that there's collusion, because if there wasn't collusion, obviously you would be bombing them, because that's the right thing to do, duh. But when Trump does bomb Syria, Russia's top ally, and Trump did end up killing fucking Russians, by the way, whole new round of sanctions just announced. Everybody, oh my God, the Russian sanctions were implemented like late or something. They've been implementing the sanctions, and then now we have a new round of sanctions, and the way to resist that is to say, hey, don't do sanctions. I'm going to resist Donald Trump and say, no more sanctions. No more sanctions. Get the NATO troops off of Russia's border. Get the fucking warships out of the Black Sea right by Russia's border. What are you doing? This is how you resist from an anti-war position. No. People like Bill Maher look at Donald Trump. If he doesn't escalate, they go, why aren't you escalating, Putin's puppet? If he does escalate, they go, you're just escalating to try to show you're not Putin's puppet, but we know you're still Putin's puppet. Again, listen. This is your brain on rank, tribalism, and partisanship. I don't care what your fucking hot take is on why you think somebody is doing X, Y, or Z. Tell me what you think about X, Y, or Z. Tell me what you think about the individual issues. Hey, should we do a NATO buildup on Russia's border? Give me a yes or no, and then give me your reasoning behind it. The thing is, guys, and this is what drives me crazy, is that these people haven't even thought about these issues. They're too busy doing the gotcha with the other side that it's just, they're in a fucking fact-free, policy substance-free vacuum where politics is just boiled down to pointing at the other side and going, you're stupid. No matter what they do, spin it to fit your narrative and call them stupid. No, how about you tell me what you think on each of the individual issues? How about that? But they can't do that when they haven't even thought about the issues. Well, that's why this show exists, because I actually have positions on all these issues that I've thought through. You can agree or disagree with me. That's totally fine. But I will tell you what my position is, and I will argue for that position. And the fact that these people, number one, haven't thought about the issues. Number two, don't even understand the consequences of their actions. When you keep prodding Donald Trump, as we just covered, they did on MSNBC, you didn't even kill anybody in the Syria bombing. Why didn't you kill people? This bombings was just optics. You got to be tough if you want to do these bombings. When you keep prodding Trump from the right, or you keep reverting back to your doesn't matter what you do, you're Putin's puppet, well, you could see the logical ends to this game we're playing. The fucking nuclear missiles can be in the air. Russia's coming at us, and ours going at Russia. And these idiots would be like, you're just doing a nuclear holocaust to try to show you're not Putin's puppet, but obviously you're still Putin's puppet. So this seriously is the dumbest era of American politics I've ever witnessed in my lifetime. Because, again, like I said, at least during the Iraq War, 4 years in, 5 years in, Democrats started being like, hey, stop. Just don't stop doing this. But now you have, the Republicans are always for escalation, so they're fine with, the further bombing of Syria and the escalation of the elected Republicans, I should say. They're fine with escalating. They're fine with more war. But now the Democrats, instead of being against it, they're like, you're obviously his puppet, so this is all just a show. If you really want to prove to us that you're not a puppet, you should be even more hawkish and be more right-wing. And then watch, as Trump keeps doing that, and that's what he's doing, he's creeping further and further right, then they come out there and they do the bait and switch. And they say, oh, did I say that you needed to be hawkish to prove you're not Putin's puppet? Even though you're being more hawkish, I still think that's further evidence you are Putin's puppet. Because the only reason you're being hawkish is to try to disprove the collusion, which obviously happened.